Hey guys, I want to show you a cool feature in NATS 2.11 called consumer pausing. Ever needed to hit pause on your message consumers? Maybe you're debugging, rolling out a maintenance window, or just need things to stop for a minute without losing data. That's exactly what consumer pause is for. It lets you temporarily halt message delivery to any client until a deadline you specify. Messages queue up, nothing gets lost, and when you're ready, everything picks back up. Let me show you how it works. So what is consumer pausing? It's a feature that temporarily halts message delivery to a consumer until a specified deadline. Messages continue arriving to the stream, they just aren't delivered until the pause expires or is manually lifted. And what problem does it solve? Let's say you need to do some maintenance, maybe a database migration, a deploy, or you just need to stop processing for a bit. Normally, you'd have to stop your application or build some custom logic to handle this. With consumer pausing, you don't have to. So when would you use this? Deployments and migrations, emergency maintenance, debugging production issues, or rate limiting downstream services. Those are a few examples. Here's how it works. Your consumer will be receiving messages like normal. Then, you send an update. You set a deadline for the consumer pause. It's just a normal config update, nothing special. Anytime before that deadline, message delivery is suspended, but messages still flow to your stream. When the deadline passes, messages start flowing again automatically, or you can resume it early. It's all up to you. This works the same for both push and pull consumers. The cool part, your application doesn't even know it's happening. It just stops receiving messages. No errors, no disconnects. It keeps getting heartbeats like everything's fine. One thing to keep in mind, if there's a batch already in flight, like you pulled 100 messages and you're in the middle of processing them, NATS won't yank those away from you. It waits until the batch is done, then pauses before the next one. Alright, let me show you what this looks like. Let's get everything set up for our demo. We're just going to really quickly make a stream to publish to. I'll run this command here. It creates a stream called events using the subject pattern events catch-all with default settings. And with this, we're ready to go see consumer pausing in action. So let's go check it out. Let's see a push consumer pausing using the CLI. All right, first thing we're going to do is create a push consumer. We'll call it worker and we'll just give it defaults. Its delivery target will be worker.inbox and we'll subscribe to it. Then we'll start our publisher. We'll publish one message per second indefinitely. Then we'll pause the consumer for a certain amount of time. And then we're going to manually resume our consumer. All right, let's go ahead and create this consumer. And my delivery target will be worker.inbox. And now we'll subscribe to that. And now let's start publishing messages. And you can see them flowing in now, one per second, just like we set up. So we've been running for a little bit. Let's go ahead and pause it. We're just going to arbitrarily use 10 hours. Watch what happens. The messages stop. The stream is still receiving them, but our consumer isn't getting anything. No errors, no disconnects. It just quietly stops. Let's check the consumer info to see its state. You can see the pause deadline right there. Everything's queued up waiting, and we have 9 hours and 59 minutes. Alright, now let's resume early. Maybe our maintenance finished ahead of schedule. And just like that, messages start flowing again. We caught up on all the messages that were published while we were paused. Alright, let's check out a poll consumer. Alright, now let's see a poll consumer pausing using the CLI. We'll follow a similar setup. We'll create our consumer, this time a poll consumer with defaults. And this time I'll use the next command with a really high count, so we just keep pulling messages one by one. I'll use the exact same publish command, as well as the same pause and resume commands. And now I'll create the poll consumer. With a poll consumer, you request messages when you're ready for them. Let me start polling. And now I'll start the publisher. And you'll see the consumer start consuming. All right, let's pause it. This time I'm going to do a 10-second pause and have it resume by itself. You can go ahead and count if you want, but I'm not going to. It should start any second now. And there they are, all the messages that arrived during the pause. So pretty cool, and that's the poll consumer. So another thing you can do is you can actually create a consumer this way. You can initialize a pause upon creation. You can also use a timestamp for an absolute time. Pretty cool stuff. Let's do one last thing and run a program. We can see how this works in code. Alright, I have two programs I'm going to run. One is called worker, and it's going to start a consumer and publish messages. I'm creating the same stream, then I'm creating a consumer, and then I'm running consume with a go routine. And then finally, we publish a message every second in an infinite loop. And in the pause program, it's dead simple. First, I just get the stream, and then if resume is passed as an argument, I resume. Otherwise, I pause. And again, I'm sending it for an hour. Simple stuff. Alright, let's go ahead and run it. First, I'll run the worker, and we'll start getting messages from our consumer, and we'll print them out. Alright, now let's pause it. And the messages stop coming. I'll bet you can guess what we're going to do next. If you guessed resume, you're on the money. And there's all our messages. So you can see it's really easy to do this in code as well. And that's consumer pausing in NATS. A simple but powerful feature for when you need to hit pause without losing messages or breaking your applications. I've got more NATS content in the works, so if you don't want to miss it, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. And if there's something specific you want me to cover, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.